Engagement party drama? Oh, we had that covered. Sophie showed up in the exact same dress as me. I wasn't even over the shock yet when she turned to Ethan and went, "Brother, who looks prettier, me or her?" Before Ethan could even open his mouth, Mrs. Davis, the woman who might become my mother-in-law, tossed a full glass of red wine right at Sophie. "Change your dress or get the hell out," she said, totally deadpan. I swear I heard a standing ovation in my head. This woman? She's got potential. Anyway, let's rewind a bit. The day I graduated with my master's degree, Ethan got down on one knee and proposed. "Summer, I've waited so long for this. For all these years I've stayed pure for you, now it's your turn to say yes." One hand held flowers. The other, a ring. His eyes? Sparkly enough to sell on Etsy. A crowd formed around us, people cheering and whistling like we were the halftime show. I was tearing up, hand halfway out to take the ring, when bam. A whole ass cake smacked me right in the face. I blinked through frosting just in time to see Sophie bouncing toward me like some unhinged Easter bunny. "Surprise, sis," she squealed. Of course it was her. Sophie Davis, Ethan's adopted little sister. My future sister-in-law, theoretically. She wasn't even blood-related, just some girl the Davis family had taken in and spoiled rotten. Especially by Grandma Davis, who basically let her rule the house. Now, I don't usually judge people on vibes alone, but the way she looked at Ethan? That wasn't sisterly. That was Netflix restricted category. And once I learned she wasn't even his real sister, my internal alarm bells screamed louder than my thesis deadline. But what could I do? I had nothing but my womanly instincts and a face full of whipped cream. Sophie blinked at me with the fakest wide-eyed innocence, like she didn't just ruin the most important moment of my life. Ethan's face, though? Stone cold. "Sophie," he hissed, yanking his arm out of her grip, "are you completely out of your mind?" She looked like she was about to cry. Honestly, she was a decent actress. But she held it in and clung to his sleeve like some tragic heroine. "I just wanted to say happy birthday to my sister," she sniffled. "It's not my fault her birthday happens to be today." "Oh, great. So now it's my fault?" Cake in the face. Graduation gown ruined. Proposal hijacked. And I couldn't even get mad without looking uptight. She even had the audacity to pull the age card. "We young people play like this all the time," she chirped, like I was some expired auntie who couldn't take a joke. Girl, I was mentally screaming in 10 different languages. Suddenly, a woman elbowed her way through the crowd, scooped the fallen cake off the floor, and smashed it right into Sophie's face. I blinked. The entire base of the cake was still stuck to her face when the mystery woman finally let go. Sophie started sobbing. "Mom! Why did you do that?" "Wait. Mom? You're telling me that was Mrs. Davis?" I whipped around to Ethan. He just gave my hand a gentle squeeze and winked. Then, like the absolute menace he is, he leaned in and licked some frosting off my cheek. "Incredible," he whispered. "You taste amazing." I shoved him away before the crowd noticed he was flirting mid-crisis. Mrs. Davis, meanwhile, had her polite smile plastered on, but her eyes were ice. "Didn't you say young people play like this?" "I'm just trying to stay trendy." Then, to Sophie, "What's the matter? You mad? Can't take your own medicine?" Queen. Actual queen. Sophie tried to fake a laugh, but her eyes were shooting daggers. "Of course not. It's your big day, sis. I'm thrilled for you." She reached for Ethan again. "Brother, help me clean this off, I can't see anything." Ethan didn't even look at her. "The tissues are for my fiancé. Go buy your own." I looked down at the big pack of tissues in my hand and smiled like I just won a mini lottery. Sophie, teary-eyed and desperate, turned back to me. "I was just joking. Why are you making my brother treat me like this? You think only you get to joke around?" I wanted to punch her so badly. But hey, future sister-in-law and all. I settled for fake dumb. "Oh, Sophie. My face is huge. This pack barely covers one cheek." Her eyes flickered with a flash of something colder, resentment, maybe. But she smiled again like nothing happened. That is, until Ethan snapped. "Sophie. Enough." Honestly, if it weren't for Sophie and her constant drama, I might have a kid by now. "Seriously," Ethan muttered under his breath. "We'd be parents already." My face flushed bright red. "Too far. That's too far." Mrs. Davis chimed in helpfully, "Exactly. If she hadn't ruined everything, I'd be a grandmother by now." Okay, now I really wanted to dig a hole and disappear. Just imagine the disaster that was me, hair carefully styled and now sticky with whipped cream, bangs plastered to my forehead, dress and skin covered in white smudges. I looked like a frosted donut. And, like bees to sugar, nosy classmates and their even nosier plus ones were starting to swarm over, probably hoping for part 2 of the show. You know how they say it's nerve-wracking meeting your in-laws for the first time? Well, I was about to show up looking like a clumsy raccoon who crash-landed into a birthday cake. I instinctively shrank behind Ethan, already sweating through my palms, when Mrs. Davis turned to look at me. After a long pause, she suddenly smirked. Well, I'll be damned. Turns out not everyone looks ridiculous with cake on their face. Excuse me? I stared at her, wide-eyed, and scrambled to say something polite. But my brain short-circuited, and what came out of my mouth was, "Hi. Mom." The entire room erupted in laughter. Future daughter-in-law of the year, someone howled. Even Sophie was fuming, stomping her feet like a Disney villain in a toddler's body. She shot me a death glare before storming off in full drama queen mode. Mrs. Davis was clearly feeling herself at this point. She got emotional, and whipped off her bracelet to give it to me. Summer, I didn't prepare a gift for today. Take this for now, I'll make up for it later. I don't know much about gemstones, but that thing was icy white and practically glowing. Definitely not from the clearance bin. My hands froze midair. I didn't even bring anything for you, I stammered, panic rising. And it was just a slip of the tongue. I didn't mean to call you Mom, I swear I'm not trying to marry into your jewelry box. Ethan, the shameless clown, took the bracelet and casually fastened it on my wrist. She gave it to you, babe. Just wear it. Then he turned to his mom, beaming like a second grader showing off his macaroni art. So, Mom. What do you think? My wife's pretty sweet, huh? Mrs. Davis didn't even blink, just kicked him right in the butt. You useless punk. Lucky for you, at least your taste in women isn't garbage. Almost makes up for how dumb you are. Okay, I give up. How am I supposed to keep a straight face with this family? The peanut gallery went wild again. Summer is so amazing, someone gushed. She's the top of our class, for real. Yeah, and she's super nice, too. And she cooks. I had to fight the urge to ask if I had accidentally hired these people as hype men. Even Mrs. Davis was soaking up the compliments like she was at a TED Talk titled How to Raise a Perfect Daughter-in-Law. Ethan stood there grinning like the village fool. The performance was really going overboard now, I was basically digging my toes into the ground doing my massage exercises just to stay sane. And then, boom. Mrs. Davis changed gears and grabbed my other hand. Here. This one's yours too. 2 bracelets. 2. I was about to have a breakdown in 14K white jade. After the chaos, I retreated to the bathroom to wipe the dairy off my face in dignity. When I came back, Mrs. Davis suggested we all go back to the Davis house for dinner. We had agreed to visit them after the party, but I mean, look at me. I wasn't exactly first impression ready. Ethan pulled me close and said, I'll take Summer to grab some clean clothes first. Mrs. Davis gave him an approving glance. Finally. I was waiting for that level of common sense. Honestly, if you didn't offer, I'd start questioning your humanity. Geez. Thirsty much, Mrs. Davis? I thought she might think I was being extra for wanting to change, but no, she squeezed my hand with sincere warmth and said, Don't worry, sweetheart. My husband and Ethan's uncle are both very easy to get along with. You'll never be mistreated in this family. Ethan, meanwhile, popped up like an overzealous sales rep, so, Summer. Marry me already. I'm telling you, it's the best investment you'll ever make. They had me flanked on both sides, saying all these sweet nothings. Anyone walking by would have thought I was about to be trafficked. Still, with a boyfriend this attentive and a future MIL this savage? Tell me how not to fall for that. I turned to Mrs. Davis. Auntie, Ethan is really... And then my eyes caught movement in the distance. Oh no. Someone was bouncing toward us like a caffeinated grasshopper. Of course it was Sophie. And I'm not exaggerating, she was literally hopping her way over like she was auditioning for Mean Girls, musical edition. She clearly thought she was being adorable. Reality check, she'd forgotten the sheer mass she was carrying around. By the time she was halfway across the lawn, I swore I could feel the sidewalk crack. Ethan and Mrs. Davis's faces turned pitch black. Mrs. Davis wore the kind of expression that said, Why did I even give birth? I had to bite my lip to stop from laughing. Sophie, oblivious as always, threw herself at Ethan, grabbing his sleeve like they were in a K-drama. Brother, I'm hungry. Can we go to that Western restaurant you used to take me to? You were so nice to me before. Now you've got a girlfriend and no time for me at all. Oh my god. Is this girl on a timer? Does she have me tracked with AirTags? How does she always show up at the perfect moment to ruin the vibe? She wasn't done. Cue crocodile tears, complete with smiley sadness, like some kind of TikTok filter malfunction. You used to say that if no one wanted me when I grew up, you'd marry me. What? Excuse me? Did she just say what I think she said? I spun toward Ethan. Wow. So you're that kind of guy now? Ethan went redder than a fire truck. I never said that. Whoever said that is a freaking liar. Mrs. Davis clapped a hand on my shoulder. I can vouch for that. If anyone ever said that, they're a grand liar. Ethan immediately started throwing me heart eyes, grateful like a drowning man clinging to driftwood. Okay, I waved him off. I was just messing with you. But seriously, you need to see through your sister's little act. Mrs. Davis poked Ethan's forehead. This idiot used to say he was gonna marry that little girl next door. Guess how many names I've had to remember over the years? At least 15. Then she smirked at Sophie. I still remember when you were running around in split crotch pants. Split crotch pants. Please bury me. Sophie's face turned tomato red. And we weren't even halfway through the day. Mrs. Davis wasn't finished with the roast. Do you also remember, she said with a smirk, how you used to cry about marrying Big Bear? Big Bear? I blinked. Ethan leaned in and whispered near my ear, our family dog. Super loyal. Died years ago. Way classier than Sophie. I burst out laughing. Honestly? That would have been a better match. Sophie's sugar-coated mask finally cracked. She glared at Mrs. Davis. Mom, that was just a dumb childhood joke. Why would you bring it up in front of outsiders? Outsiders? Ethan scoffed. You mean my fiancé? My mom's daughter-in-law? Sophie, stop pretending this is a sitcom. You're not the main character. Quit calling her sis and say it right, sister-in-law. I never agreed to marry you. Sophie shot back, eyes full of fire. She's not even good enough for you. Oh please, I muttered under my breath. Like you are. Mrs. Davis didn't even flinch. Sweetheart, just being given our last name was already more than you deserved. Time to stop dreaming about things you were never invited to. The room went silent. Sophie's eyes flickered with embarrassment. I'm not dreaming about anything, she muttered. I just don't think she's right for Ethan. You think we're taking relationship advice from a girl who couldn't finish school and ran home from overseas because she didn't like the food? Mrs. Davis raised an eyebrow so high I could feel it from across the room. Sophie's lips trembled. Her fingers twisted the hem of her dress into knots, but she couldn't get a single word out. Mrs. Davis simply grabbed her by the collar and dragged her away. Ethan came back grinning. Grandma, where should we bury this clown? I rolled my eyes. Please leave me alone. I'm still recovering from hearing her say she wanted to marry your family dog. Let's be real, Ethan always saw her as a sister. But Sophie? That girl never wanted to just be the sister. And everyone in the Davis family knew it, why else would they treat her like a glass bomb no one wanted to set off? But that sister identity she hides behind? It means I can't even call her out directly. I can't slap her, can't kick her out. I have to play nice. And that drives me nuts. Ethan tried to cozy up to me, guilt in his eyes. Babe. I swear, I'll tell you everything. And boy, he did. Sophie wasn't really a Davis, just a distant relative Granny Wilson took in after her own grandma passed away. Supposedly a debt of gratitude or whatever. Granny forced Mrs. Davis to adopt her officially, spoiled her endlessly, and basically turned her into an overgrown entitled brat. Mrs. Davis gave up arguing long ago. She just kept throwing money at her and pretended not to notice the drama. Then Sophie hit adulthood, and the family finally saw a light at the end of the tunnel. Time to marry her off. But no, Granny decided Ethan was the perfect match. Cue family chaos. Everyone objected. Mrs. Davis stopped eating for days out of sheer rage. Granny? Didn't care. Still pushed it. Even after Ethan made it crystal clear he wasn't interested. And Sophie? Oh, she put on a real show. Crying, threatening, fake epiphanies. I've let it go, she claimed. Yeah, right. 5 minutes later she's all, Summer, I swear I'm innocent. Body and soul, I belong to you. Girl. No one wants your body or your soul. Go away. I kicked her gently in my mind, already getting goosebumps just picturing that fake innocent face. This mess? It had to be handled. She was a walking, talking time bomb. Who knew when she'd explode again? Don't worry, Ethan said with a wink. My mom's on it. I'll be her backup dancer. He kissed me lightly on the cheek. You just wait and be the next Mrs. Davis. Ew, I said, smirking. I don't care about the title. I just don't like someone hovering over my dinner like they've already licked it. We stopped by a boutique to pick out new clothes, plus gifts for his family. When we pulled up to the Davis mansion, I'll admit, I was nervous. Ethan patted his chest like a Disney prince. Relax. I got this. Mrs. Davis opened the door, smiling like it was a wedding photo shoot. Mr. Davis stood behind her looking awkward but sweet. And there was Sophie, rolling her eyes and nudging the stone-faced woman beside her. Grandma Davis, obviously. I plastered on my best polite smile. Hi Mr. Davis, Mrs. Davis, Grandma. The two parents smiled back warmly. Grandma? Didn't even look up. Too busy scrolling on her phone like she was checking stocks. Gee, wonder who poisoned the well on that one. Mrs. Davis, bless her, quickly whispered, don't take it personally, her hearing's not great. The words were barely out when Grandma Davis suddenly bellowed, who says I can't hear? Oh. Okay then. I froze. Everyone froze. Mrs. Davis gave me a look like, yeah, just pretend that didn't happen. And that's exactly what I did. Mrs. Davis squeezed my hand and parked me at the head of the table like I was royalty. Summer, sweetie, you must be starving. Auntie, sorry, Mom, cooked all your favorites herself. Sophie barged in right behind us, tried to wedge her chair next to Ethan, and got hip-checked away by Mrs. Davis. She pouted, dragged a chair over to Grandma, and sat there looking like a bruised peach. Grandma Davis immediately started fussing over her, shooting death ray side eyes at Mrs. Davis. Everyone else pretended it was an avant-garde play we'd already seen. I'd barely taken one bite of shrimp when Sophie cranked the volume to 10. Brother, I want shrimp too. Peel it for me. Picture a 170-pound toddler screaming in a helium voice. Nails on a chalkboard? Kind of like that, only louder. Ethan didn't even glance over. He dumped every peeled shrimp into my bowl. Busy spoiling my wife over here. Zero time for anything else. Ugh. You're so biased, Sophie whined. You used to peel shrimp for me. Cue the sequel. Mrs. Davis fired back without looking up from her soup. Sophie, he's her fiancé. He's supposed to spoil her. You have 2 working hands, use them. If you're jealous, find your own boyfriend and quit stirring our shrimp. I'm not stirring anything. There's just a stranger at home, and I'm not used to it. Stranger? I lifted an eyebrow. Pretty sure I'm marrying your brother. Ethan popped another shrimp straight into my mouth, then shrugged. Better get used to it. 2, 3 kids down the road and you'll forget I was ever your brother. I almost choked. Mrs. Davis patted my back like, breathe, future grandbaby incubator, breathe. Sophie bit a rib so hard the bone cracked and finally shut up. Grandma Davis stirred the pot next. They aren't married yet. Ethan's still young. Dating is fine, but marriage can wait. Ethan shot up so fast his chair screeched. Not young, Grandma. We've dated 4 years. I'm pushing 27. I'm ready. I'd move the county clerk's office here tonight if I could. I pinched his thigh under the table, he yelped but kept going. Point is, I'm very ready. Mr. Davis nodded solemnly. Summer's terrific. More than good enough for our boy. Was it weird having 3 people lobby for me like I was free Wi-Fi? Yes. Was I secretly thrilled? Also yes. I handed Mr. Davis a tin of specialty tea from Dad's farm and gave Mrs. Davis a mid-range beauty device I'd saved months to buy. They were over the moon, shoved 2 thick red envelopes into my purse before I could blink. Sophie drifted by, munching an apple like the evil queen in training. Vintage garage sale energy, summer. Maybe donate it next time. My cheeks flamed. Sure, compared to Davis money my gifts were dollar store chic, but they were the most expensive things I could afford. Ethan was in the bathroom, Mr. Davis had disappeared into his study, and for a hot second I felt painfully small. Then Mrs. Davis swept in, swatted Sophie's arm away, and snarled, unless it's addressed to you, keep your mouth zipped. My daughter-in-law could hand me tap water and I'd frame it. Grandma Davis's cane clacked on the marble. A couple of trinkets and you're all bought off, no backbone. Oh, almost forgot, Grandma. I blurted, fishing a palm-sized Bluetooth speaker from my bag. This is for you. Sophie snorted. A speaker? Seriously? I leaned close to Grandma's ear. Preloaded with 2,000 trending audiobooks. Just press play. Grandma's eyebrows launched north, then she tried to hide her grin. Ethan swooped back in, tapped the power button, and a melodramatic voice boomed, CEO falls for his sassy maid, Chapter 1. Hundreds more where that came from, Ethan told her. If you're not into it, I'll gift it to Mrs. Sun next door. Don't you dare. Grandma yanked it from his hands like it was a winning lottery ticket. Sophie's face went swamp green. Ethan laced his fingers through mine, we shared a secret victory fist bump. Aside from the resident drama queen, the entire Davis clan seemed pretty sold on me. The parents had met, the gifts were exchanged, and honestly, I couldn't stop smiling. One step closer to happily ever after, shrimp tails and all. I hissed at Sophie, reality check, it's my engagement party. Did your brain swap places with your lower intestine when you decided to copy my dress? Sophie twirled past my rage like a glittery butterfly and planted herself in front of Ethan. Brother, who's prettier, me or her? I pointed at the 3-meter-wide sign near the entrance, engagement of Ethan Davis and Summer Wilson. Need me to read that for you? She didn't. Instead, she tried to squeeze her marshmallow body, complete with rolls spilling over an ill-fitting gown, into a pose she'd probably thought was sexy. Ethan yanked his hand away, but Mrs. Davis moved even faster, splash. A full glass of red wine straight onto Sophie's wedding crasher white. Change or leave. Stop embarrassing the family. My jaw hit the floor. Future MIL? Weaponized. Love her. Sophie burst into tears, clamped onto Ethan. We grew up together, no one understands you like I do, I'm the one who truly loves you. You promised to marry me when we were kids. Mascara rivers streaked down her cheeks, the little sister mask officially fell off. Mrs. Davis stepped between them. Sophie, how many times do I have to spell this out? Ethan does not like you. Sophie jabbed a finger at me. She's just after your money. Girl, please, I muttered. Your brother used sweet talk on me first. Slap. Mrs. Davis's hand met Sophie's face with a satisfying crack. Your birth parents were farmers. One comfy life at the Davis house and you forget your own surname? Summer might come from modest roots, but she's hardworking, smart, polite, every area you trail her by 50 miles. If Ethan ever fancied you, I'd break his legs myself. I quietly glanced at Ethan's legs, still intact, thank goodness. Sophie wobbled, eyes vacant. But Granny said the Davis family would keep me forever. She promised. Wow. Some people actually want to live life as a free-range pig. The ceremony was about to start, Ethan grabbed my hand to leave. I whispered as we passed Sophie, funny thing about pigs, you fatten them up to eat at New Year's. Don't worry, I plan to take my share home. Her face froze. Next second, shing, she whipped out a fruit knife and pressed it to her wrist. Brother, if you go through with this, I'll die right here. This woman is unhinged. Ethan didn't flinch. Your life, your choice. Mrs. Davis folded her arms. We fed you 20+ years. We're not sacrificing a son too. Kill yourself if you must, I'll buy the priciest urn. Am I a terrible person for almost laughing? Sophie panicked. Ethan, your sister is about to die and you're busy getting engaged? You're the one holding the knife, he said. Summer, ceremony's starting. Let's move. He half dragged me down the aisle, Mrs. Davis followed. I peeked back, Ethan squeezed my hand. Don't look. Performers work harder with an audience. Mrs. Davis added, relax, honey, that knife's dull as butter. She'll be fine once we ignore her. Sure enough, Sophie reappeared later in a new outfit, 0 cuts. Drama queen, 0, engagement, 1. Ethan and I skipped the family mansion and moved into a downtown 3-bedroom near my grad school. After Sophie's habit of waltzing into his room wearing pajamas, Ethan packed overnight and refused to share our address. Babe, he sighed on move-in day, you have no idea the sacrifice I'm making. I pictured Sophie's runway model body and perfect face. Huge sacrifice, I said, totally deadpan. I was burning the midnight oil in the study, working on a paper my PhD advisor had assigned. Meanwhile, Ethan had asked me, no joke, 8 times in 1 minute when I was going to bed. He was deliberately parading around in next to nothing, flashing those abs in front of me like he was modeling for some fitness calendar. Ugh, I haven't worked out lately. I think I'm losing definition, he said, flexing dramatically. I shot him a look. Losing where? You still have a full 8-pack. He grinned and leaned in. Babe, I know thesis writing is exhausting. Let's play a game to unwind a little. Just a quick 2-player game. Super fast. I blushed, scooted back from my desk. The next second, he swept me up bridal style and bolted to the bedroom. Spoiler alert, that game? Not quick. Not relaxing. And very energy consuming. This man was a scam artist in a pretty package. Life after that was peaceful. Well, except for the mountain of academic work and Ethan's ever-creative stress relief games that I never seemed quite ready for. Everything else? Practically perfect. Even weekends at his parents' place went smoothly. One weekend, we ran into Sophie pushing Grandma Wilson in her wheelchair at the complex entrance. After the drama she pulled at our engagement party, Ethan's mom had had enough. She wanted Sophie out of the house the very next day. But Grandma Wilson went on a hunger strike to keep her, kicking off a full-blown war of attrition. Thanks to Granny's iron will, Sophie stayed. Ethan's mom? She moved out to her own mom's place. Mr. Davis had to beg her home with promises and apologies for days. Watching Sophie strut around like nothing happened, I couldn't help but be impressed. What kind of dark magic was this woman practicing to get a face that thick? Meanwhile, Granny was still clutching the little audiobook speaker I gave her, binging through her library of domineering CEO romance audiobooks. She hadn't exactly warmed up to me before, but now that we were officially engaged, she was tolerable. I helped her set up the playlist again, and when she looked at me, there was a faint warmth in her eyes. I was still basking in that tiny breakthrough when Sophie interrupted. "Ethan, go ahead without me. I just need a quick word with your fiancé," she said sweetly. Oh. Did she finally just call me sister-in-law? Was this her attempt at making peace? Ethan wasn't buying it. "Whatever it is, say it in front of me. There's nothing private between you two." "Oh, come on. What, are you scared I'm gonna bite her?" she smirked. I gave Ethan a little nudge. "It's fine. Go ahead, I'll catch up." He gave me a kiss and walked off, but Sophie kept her eyes glued to his back like she was mentally undressing him. My stomach twisted. Yeah, I'd been dumb. Sophie wasn't giving up, not now, not ever. "Summer Wilson," she spat, her tone suddenly venomous, "feeling proud of yourself? Seducing Ethan like that? Wow. Straight to the green tea girl script, huh?" "Let it go, Sophie," said Grandma Wilson with a sigh. "If Ethan doesn't like you, forcing it won't help. Summer's a good girl, bright, driven. She'll go far. But I love Ethan. Grandma, you said you'd help me." Sophie whined, her voice morphing into a pitiful coo as she squatted beside her. "You promised. You said I'd marry Ethan, that I didn't have to work or study. That the Davis family would take care of me forever." Before I could process what was happening, Sophie shoved the wheelchair toward the slope next to the path. Granny screamed. Even if I didn't like her, this was crossing a line. I lunged forward, jabbing Sophie in the eye sockets with 2 fingers. She shrieked and let go. Ethan, who had come back just in time, grabbed her and yanked her away while I rushed to help Granny. Granny had already pulled herself upright and was sitting on the curb clutching her knee, pale as a sheet. Sophie lunged at me like a rabid dog. "Say it was Summer. Tell them she pushed you." Granny looked between us, then fixed Sophie with a trembling glare. You brat. I must have been blind." And just like that, Sophie lost her last ally. By lunchtime, all her things were packed up and dumped by the front door. Mrs. Davis wanted to call the cops. Granny refused but agreed to cut ties completely. Sophie sobbed on the floor. "Grandma, you said I'd marry Ethan. You promised. You said I didn't have to be useful. You said I'd be taken care of. Why is everyone turning on me now?" Mrs. Davis didn't hesitate, smack, smack, 2 slaps shut her up. "You wanna know why? You'd have starved without us. We gave you everything, and now you bite the hand that feeds you. You're not just useless, you're dangerous." Sophie turned her rage to me. "This is all your fault, Summer. You stole my brother. My parents. Even my grandma." Then she lunged at me again, this time going for my hair. I didn't wait. I roundhouse kicked her right in the gut. Ding dong. "Police." "Who called the cops?" one officer asked. Mrs. Davis stepped forward, pointing at Sophie. "I did. This brat tried to kill my mother-in-law and frame my future daughter-in-law. Take her away." Granny didn't say a word. Just turned and quietly closed the door. Once Sophie was out of the house, the air practically sparkled. Mrs. Davis sang while cooking. Even the way she looked at Mr. Davis was soft and warm again. Ethan moved back in with me. Only Granny stayed quiet, her heart clearly bruised by the betrayal of the girl she once loved like a granddaughter. She wanted to move into the retirement home out of shame, but Mr. Davis talked her out of it. Our wedding plans kicked off soon after. With no one stirring up trouble, everything went unbelievably smooth. I wore a white gown and walked step by step toward the man I loved. Ethan stood at the altar, eyes misty with emotion. That moment, I felt like I was drowning in happiness. Later that night, I was back at my desk, working on my thesis. Ethan curled up on the couch beside me with a book in his lap. In the quiet study, only the rhythm of our breathing and heartbeats filled the air. I glanced up, studying his handsome profile, a wave of emotion washing over me. These past few years, I never gave up my dreams for love. I wasn't some vine clinging to a tree, I wanted to be a tree, too. Standing strong beside him. Facing the storms together. That's something someone like Sophie would never understand. Ethan put down his book and leaned in, grinning. What's on your mind, babe? Not focusing on your homework? I met his eyes and smiled. Just thinking about you. That was all it took. He lit up, grabbed me into his arms, and said, "Guess I gotta punish you now. Time for a brand new two-player game." This man was dangerous. And I was absolutely, completely exhausted. The end.